Filming of Joker 2 with Joaquin Phoenix began in New York and New Jersey, just as with the first part. From these locations, dozens of photos have already emerged from the locations, with quite clear plot details. We'll break them down in the next couple of minutes. 2 new Jokers from Arkham await you, and of course, Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. The first interesting details are connected to her. One of the shots shows a newspaper with the headline, "Madly in Love," accompanied by an article, photos of the Joker and Harley Quinn, and 2 important plot points. First, Harleen Frances Quinzel's full name is given. There were theories that Lady Gaga would play a new character just like Harley. But now, there can't be 2 opinions. Well, most importantly, Harley is listed in the paper not as a doctor, but as a patient at Arkham General Hospital. That is to say, repeating an Iron Heart is not even close to being a replacement for Tony Stark. Maybe something will change in time, but for now his place is vacant. Traditionally, Harley Quinn is a doctor in Arkham who falls in love with the Joker and slowly goes crazy. But director Todd Phillips took a different approach for the Joker. For example, in one of the costume surveys, Harley appeared in a photo in full makeup and outfit that doesn't look like Margot Robbie's version. This is understandable, given the down-to-earth and realistic nature of this universe. It's worth noting that Lady Gaga looks pretty great in character. After the events of the first part of the movie, the Joker became a real celebrity in Gotham and ended up in large-scale protests. In the sequel, this idea will continue, and a crowd of protesters can be seen on the set demanding the release of the Joker from Arkham. The first installment's thing with the striking clowns will continue in the second, and they will be striking next to the courthouse, where Harley Quinn is being led into. It's unclear how she got there. Eventually, the Joker will be released and free to roam the streets of Gotham, running away from 2 other Jokers, one of whom is wearing the costume Arthur wore at the end of Part 1. All in all, we can assume that the protesters demanding Arthur's release from custody set Arkham on fire. An interesting storyline emerges where, after the events of the original, the chaos in Gotham continues and the authorities don't know what to do about it. In an attempt to restore order, there will be a formal trial, with Harley Quinn as a witness, as well as many protesters outside the courtroom and Arkham on fire, and all the other details we saw. And then there's the potential inclusion of some very popular character in the project. A sign held by one of the protesters reads, "Harvey Dent, the Clown," which confirms the presence of the legendary Batman villain in the film. In the first part, the card cards had the names of Thomas Wayne, the mayor, and other rich people the movie mentions on the residents of Gotham. We ended up seeing that if Harvey Dent's name is glimpsed in the footage in Part 2, it is logical to assume that he will also be present in the film, especially since the case involves a courthouse and the potential trial of Arthur Fleck. Harvey Dent is Gotham's district attorney, played by Aaron Eckhart in Christopher Nolan's trilogy. That version was also down to earth and eventually turned into Two-Face. And as a result, it's very interesting whether there will be a similar plot twist in Joker 2. On the one hand, repeating Christopher Nolan's plot would be silly, but on the other hand, the setting of Todd Phillips' universe is so different from the rest of DC that a new version of Two-Face could be shown without causing audiences to draw analogies to the old one. These, of course, are already theories. However, it's likely that Harvey Dent and Arthur will at least be dealt with in a lawsuit. Also, all these pictures and videos finally clearly answer questions from the ending of Part 1. It ended with the Joker refusing to tell the doctor the joke and walking off into the sunset. Based on this, many have decided that all of the events of the movie are made up by Arthur, and nothing really happened. We can now say unequivocally that this is not Murray's murder, and all the details of the original took place in reality. So the controversy that began in 2019 is officially over. Otherwise, there would have been no protesters, no lawsuit, and everything we've already seen in the footage from the shooting. Perhaps, working on the first part, Phillips wanted to end it on something other than on money, winning. And for the sequel, the events need to be concreted definitively. The theory about the Joker's hallucinations is shattered by footage showing that there will be scenes involving only Harley Quinn in the film. In addition to the trial, a video of Harley robbing a store, smashing urns and glass, and stealing a television. Arthur is not in either scene, so the movie will not be narrated by him alone, which actually makes sense considering Lady Gaga is a popular actress. And she needs screen time, too. Moreover, the most popular fan theory is that the whole movie will be told from Harley's point of view. She will be the main character, and we will get a glimpse of Arthur Flack from the sidelines. Thus, the film will seemingly be a sequel, but in fact a Lady Gaga solo, which will save everyone from the pesky question, did the beautiful 2019 project even need a sequel? And wasn't it made solely for the money? Also, of course, there's the theory about the multiverse, drugs, and some violent hallucinations that Arthur will have in the second film and make him see Jokers everywhere, and he'll make up Harley Quinn altogether. But agree, it is much more logical to assume that the director will simply continue the bleak and down-to-earth storyline of the original. There could be plenty of surprises. And in it, all the footage from the shooting confirms the bearded leak of the plot. He claimed that the main villain of The Joker 2 Inches would be a second, more villainous version of the villain, William Dafoe, who has actually openly stated that he wouldn't mind starring in the film, given the fake Joker's pursuit of the real Joker and generally a lot of dissolved Protestants, was actively grabbed for this role. In principle, such an option is willingly believable. Let's say that in Part 2, the Joker becomes a real superstar and realizes that the prank has gone too far, but that it's not up to him and he doesn't want to destroy Gotham right to the ground. Arthur disappoints his fans, who start chasing him. A more aggressive and brutal version of the Joker from William Dafoe enters the scene and takes the people's wrath into his own hands, after which a confrontation between two villains begins, one of which wants to destroy Gotham to the ground, and the other with the help of Harley Quinn, just to normalize the situation and live happily ever after. The second possible version of the plot is a big trial with a similar first part and storyline, only instead of the murky billionaire Thomas Wayne, there will be the murky prosecutor Harvey Tent, whose duplicity will be proved to the people by the Joker and Harley Quinn. All in all, there are plenty of options, and they're all workable. We'll get back to the facts. That Phillips, the film's director, has for some reason officially suddenly confirmed that the action of Joker 2 Inches will unfold in 1981. At first glance, this clarification makes zero sense. The project is not tied to any comics or real events in order to build theories or draw conclusions based on dates. But therein lies the true essence of the director's statement. He purposely concretized the dates so that there would be no doubt that Batman could somehow be implicated in the story. The Bruce Wayne that was shown in the first part would be too young. And other older versions like Robert Pattinson and the schizophrenia that James Gunn had in mind to relaunch, the movie wouldn't fit. Just chronologically, the new installment of Twilight unfolded in 2019, and there, the dumbest version of Batman in history was about 30 in the first Joker. Bruce Wayne is about 10, which means he was born somewhere in the early 70s. That Phillips did a clever thing and made sure no one tried to pull the owl on the globe and assume that the events of Joker 2 happened in the 90s. And hence one could theoretically assume that this is a prequel to one of the Batman movies that has already come out. Neither Christopher Nolan's version nor Robert Pattinson's version is too young to fit into his timeline, and Michael Keaton, by contrast, is too old. We're willing to bet that Phillips purposely chose the date so that no fan theories would converge after the original was released. The director has been quite harsh on other universes on more than one occasion, not wanting to tie the Joker 2 to them. The second part will also be a completely separate project, which, given what's going on in DC, is great. After all, James Gunn won't be able to get into the movie and change anything about it to suit his new universe. And anyway, Gunn's influence on the project is not even theoretically possible. That Phillips reports directly to WB management, and you don't have to worry about him getting in on the project with a request to stick a new Superman or cut some kind of reference. Unfortunately, the main downside to the whole story is still the format of the musical. They're adored in the West, of course, but the world audience traditionally doesn't treat the idea very well. Well, not so much. Photos from the shooting inspired hope that at least not everyone in the movie will be dancing. However, we should get ready for Lady Gaga's songs, dances, and vocals. She's already been awarded an Oscar in absentia based on just the first photos from the shoot, but still, many people won't get the dancing simply because of the genre.